Hello there. We're going to make some lo-fi, and it's pretty easy in Studio One. So I just want to make this quick video just to show you folks how we go about that. It requires basically two things: Studio One and some sort of crackle noise. Now, with Studio One, you do get this sort of as part of the package, but definitely you can make your own. It's really not difficult. Simply by crinkling a bag of crisps or chips and then just adding a high pass filter. Now, we're going to just take some samples that are included with Studio One to demonstrate this. The way that we go about it is that we create either instrument tracks in Studio One, which is like your MIDI, you can make your instruments, and then we can bounce those to audio. Or alternatively, we can just make use of samples if we're doing sample cutting or just using loops that we have already. I've selected A flat minor for this. We're going to just pick a few bits here. So we're going to go with, let's have a look at a bass first of all. And that's a bass that we can probably use. We'll have a look at piano. Okay, I think these could work well together. We'll just keep it simple here, and we'll just now look for, a hip-hop beat. Yep, that'll work. So for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to keep this piece of music relatively short. What I like to do is make sure that when I've got my audio tracks in, or I'm happy with the song that I've created, we're going to press Control and B, and that's just going to bounce our tracks to their own new audio events. Now, obviously, the cool thing about Studio One is it's not lost, so we can go into the pool there and we can see that we have, our rendered bass track here, number 4, bass A flat minor. Same with the piano and the hip hop drums as well. So we can always revert back to those if we want to. So like the hip hop drums is quite a short track. That's the rendered one. It's the same what we've got in there now. Or we can just put in the original one. So there's always a way out. Now, what we need to pay attention to is the inspector. We can get there by pressing F4. Or we can press the I just above the tracks there. Now, in Studio One, there's a number of time stretch algorithms. These will be familiar to you if you used another DAW that has these types of things in. So you've got the Elastic Pro format, the Pro monophonic format, and the just standard Pro, and then tape resampler. I'm going to set these to tape resampler. Now, you can do this over a whole mix, so you can actually get your sort of mix done, and you're happy with like your standard mix. And then you can just drop it into Studio One and perform the same tasks just on one track, because we don't necessarily need to have multi-tracks here or anything like that. But it can be good if you want to kind of cut things and edit things after the fact. So what we also need to do is we need to make use of the tempo track as well. Now, hip-hop lo-fi is sort of in the 80s to 90s BPM generally, so we're going to go for around about 84. And what we're going to do here is we're going to get rid of the browser just for now. And we're going to press this button at the top here, and that's going to enable us to view everything. What we want to do is we want to go to this hamburger menu here, or we can slide this out and we have access to these tools here. Assuming obviously you can see it like this, we're going to press this, we're going to go down to tempo, and that brings us our tempo track. The great thing about Studio One is that everything's sort of tucked away in a sort of an intuitive way. So you're not losing real estate on your screen when it comes to working with it. Now, what I like to do here is just expand this a little bit, just so that I can make some more finer details to the tempo. And what we can see here is that the tempo track there is sat at 84 BPM, but we've got a max of 145. So we can click this and we can type in a new value. I like to sit around about 100 for this kind of tempo, and we'll put 60 at the bottom, and this will just give us a little bit of space either side, making sure that that line is center. You don't need to do this, but I find that it's just a little bit easier visually. We can use our third mouse button to gain access to these tools. These tools are available to you in the toolbar at the top. So this is what we want. We want the sign paint tool, but we can also get it here as well, just simply by clicking there. And we're going to use our reference of 84. We're going to left click our mouse, and we're going to hold that down, and we're going to drag. And when we move our mouse up and down, this sort of inverts the sine wave for us. For this sort of thing, it doesn't really matter too much, but what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that this is relatively subtle. So we're going to go all the way to the end of the track, and we're going to have a listen to what it sounds like. Remember, these are now on tape time stretch. That's quite extreme, so maybe we want to kind of make some adjustments to this. There's a couple of ways we can do this. We can simply redraw the sine wave and go over what we've already done, or we can make use of the paint tool transform. This enables us just to simply select an area, and then we can make adjustments to it, such as narrowing it. And I think narrowing it in this case might be useful, so we can actually adjust how much of that tape warble sound that we get. And the cool thing about it is we can play and adjust this at the same time. Okay, so we've got our tape warble, and what we want to do now is head back to our browser. We're going to jump into our loops, and we're going to type in crackle. So we've got this vinyl crackle here. Now, I know it kind of seems unintuitive to use a vinyl crackle with, so it's supposed to sound like a tape. But that's the cool thing about it. We're just looking for noise. And that's sort of what the lo-fi sort of sound really kind of needs. It's just a little bit of noise, creates that nostalgia. We don't need to worry too much with crackle and noise, whether we've got clipping or clicking at the end of each audio event, because essentially it's the whole sound, What we'll do with this is we'll select those items by holding down the Shift key, and then we'll just press G to glue them all together. I'm going to color code these a little bit so that you can sort of see. So we've got the bass in red, we'll leave the piano blue, we'll make the drums yellow, and then we'll make the noise, let's say, pinky purple. Now what we're going to do with this is we've got some high levels going on there. We might be clipping a little bit, right? Which is fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to hide the mix there. We're going to just grab all these, and we're just going to use the handles, and we're going to bring those down just a little bit. Now we've got that noise, which is pretty obnoxious at the moment. So what we want to do with that one is we're going to bring this down quite considerably. I'm going to set this to around about minus 18 dB on the fader. Now it's entirely up to you at this point whether you want to add any kind of filtering. Filtering is just an EQ, or EQ is just a filter rather. So we're going to go and grab an EQ here. We'll go to Pro EQ. And for this, we can use either the low cut or the high cut, depending on the type of noise that we want. So we can go on the low cut there. We can just have those high crackles. Very sort of ASMR. Or we can use the high cut. And that's what makes it feel like a little bit more chocolatey. Rainy day, sort of vibes. So let's unmute these and let's see what we've got. Okay, so we've got something that's akin to a lo-fi hip hop beat, and the cool thing about obviously making use of the tempo trap this way is that we can really make quite a lot of adjustments with the tempo track to change the whole feel of it. Now, when we're doing temporary sampling and we're making the tempo lower, we're actually lowering the pitch, just like you would with the tape. So we're going to demonstrate that here. We'll get a completely different vibe. So we're going to reduce this fairly significantly. So as you can see, we get quite a big difference. If we put the pitch up, say just a little bit above where we were. So it's a pretty neat effect all in all. I'd kind of use it more of a post-production thing. Certainly you can use it from a sound design perspective as well. But obviously bear in mind that we're doing tape resampling here. So when we adjust the tempos, we're also adjusting the pitch. So if you're, in this instance, you've got a piece of music that's in any flat minor, and you start to mess around the pitch, it's going to change the overall key. So that's something you need to factor in. However, it doesn't always matter because you can always repitch things after the fact. Cool thing about this, once you bounce it, is obviously the effect that we've created here is imparted on that audio. So wherever you put it, it's still going to have that effect. Try it out, see how you get along with it. It's pretty easy to do, and I think all of you folks that like the lo-fi hip hop beats, maybe you want to make some stuff for your YouTube videos or background for a production or something like that. Maybe even a skit track, in between, sort of like a tracks of a hip hop album or rap album or whatever. It's definitely something to try out. It's pretty easy to do, and we're not using really any effects here, other than that Pro EQ just to filter out some of the crackles. But to be honest with you, we don't even need that on. And that's that in a nutshell. Let's do it super slow. Have a good day and I'll see you soon.